The rules of the game are you have to make eye contact so the other person knows to lift up their arms. The other people beside the people who's lifting up their arms needs to be paying attention and ready to go to follow the cue. So again, it's a game that's all about working as a team. All right, I'm going to start. Ready? Ha! 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 My name is Catherine Ellis. I'm an ELL and dance teacher. The context of this lesson, it comes kind of partway through the semester where the students have already developed some of the key skills in drama. We've worked on team building skills, cooperation, just basically get to know you drama games. So we've kind of started the year off with that so they have the confidence to move into the next stages in drama. When I call your number, you're going to just do a pose. And when you do your pose, you just freeze. So say I call number one freezes in a pose. When I call number twos, you fill in the gaps, right? This is called filling in the gap. So we're not thinking about stories, we're not thinking about emotions, you're just doing movements with your body. Okay? So spread out, find your own space in the room. The purpose of this activity is just to get them moving around the space, getting used to creating frozen moments in time, which is very important in drama, and just getting them working together to create images and pictures. Number ones, you can freeze. Number ones, freeze. Number twos and threes, keep moving. Number twos, join a pose. And number threes, join somebody.
I like when it's like the scene is silly. I like work with the group. Don't be shy when I work with each other. Like if we do for same thing, I'm not gonna be silly. I'm not gonna be
not
shy.
So scary.
Yeah,
not so scary when you're in the group. It's better when you have more person near you.
So for this activity, we're looking at the elements of movement, which is time, space, energy, body, and relationship. So we use magazines, books, pictures to illustrate in a creative way the different elements of movement. And each day was spent focusing on a new element, just to kind of build their repertoire of vocabulary, but also the whole notion of movement and what it means to move in a meaningful way on the stage. Good. What are some relationships we see here?
About drama, dancing.
Emotion. That was a really good, because we have this, there's emotion. So he's having a relationship with himself, right? Like, so he's feeling something about himself. And then there's another one, right? Friendship, maybe, happiness. So those are all ways of using emotion to show relationships as well. Good. The anchor charts are really useful, even after we create them, to keep up in the classroom to refer to throughout the rest of the course, just as we did today. So we made the posters, thought about that terminology, and we could draw back to them for an activity such as today, where we're reviewing the concepts, reviewing the importance of them. Also, because they're both visual and they're written words as well, they can serve as an inspiration for more student work. So for example, the energy poster has a picture of a weightlifter doing something. So that could be an example that they could use in another assignment if it's posted throughout the room. So it serves as both reinforcement of the language, of the literacy connections between the words on the page and how they translate into a drama class, and also just as references for more artistic inspiration. Okay guys, for the next step, what we're gonna do is each group gets to share what they thought. Share your ideas and maybe just 2 or 3 sentences about your element and how it relates to drama. So we're gonna start with this group. Lena, do you mind talking about your element?
So we're talking about time. Time is so important in drama because we need time to know where we have to talk, and we need time for freezing. We need to know which time we have to freeze, and it's so important for drama to know the time.
Okay, so in your group, choose 8 words. When you've chosen your words, then you're going to do 8 actions. And you're going to perform the actions all together at the same time. Are there any questions, guys? Okay, so this next section of the lesson, I've given the students a handout which has a whole bunch of verbs, action words. Some will be familiar to them, jump, walk, stop. But then there's some other more abstract terms that will be new for them, such as shuffle, sneak, squeeze, squirm. So there's a variety of different levels of words depending on their English ability. So what the students will do is they'll choose 8 words, and once they've chosen the words, it's their responsibility to try to decipher the meaning behind the word. So what does it mean to squirm? What does it mean to shuffle? There's different techniques they use in order to decide on a word. So they can ask me, ask a friend, use a dictionary. Once they've chosen their 8 words and deciphered the meaning of each 8 words, then they're going to stand up and start doing an action that belongs with each word. So for my English language learners, literacy develop is primary goal in almost every single course they take. And drama provides a really great opportunity for them to still explore literacy initiatives while doing drama activities and really physical activities on the stage. Some activities that you've noticed in this lesson that are specifically literacy-based are the vocabulary charts that I gave out at the beginning of the activity. Okay, so one of the things I've been doing as I've been circulating is some students are getting a little bit caught up with the amount of 8 words. So part of when you're doing assessment for learning, one thing that I tend to do is break up a larger task into even smaller tasks. So the 8 words was getting one group really kind of befuddled and they couldn't figure out what to do. So what I did is just, okay, let's just focus on your first 4 words. So taking a somewhat larger task and making it a bit smaller, more manageable. From there, then they can move on to the next set of words. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go visit a group that I gave a more advanced level activity for. They're exploring their movement phrase with using the element of movement. Their element is space, so we'll see how they're doing with that. You have the space. Awesome. Okay, so let's start again. So show me kind of what you've done with...
We're going to use like all of the stage.
You can if you want to. Yep. So whenever it comes time to show it, we'll use the whole stage. Good. But just show me here what you've done.
Okay. 1, 2. Then explode this. I'm gonna fall.
Excellent. I love how because at one point they were just doing it in a straight line. So right now they've created a formation which uses a more interesting and creative use of the space. So they've done a circle, and I love the way that you've exploded out. I think that really demonstrates the whole word explode, right? Like an explosion doesn't just happen in a line.
Yes.
Explosion does happen really big and out. So good work with that. Nice work. Are you guys ready to go?
Yes.
We've kind of looked at different terminology in drama, which we've kind of gone throughout the year learning. Okay, so again, tactics is how the character gets what he or she wants. For example, Eddie had a good idea. So think of a tactic that we've used before in drama.
I want to like your iPod.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go, hi, Katrina. Can I have your iPod?
Good. Do you remember that word? It's called flattery. You're like, hi, you look so nice today. Can I borrow something? Right? So that's flattery. So being nice. So throughout this lesson, the focus is essentially on assessment for learning. It's a workshop where it's really focused on the process of learning these dramatic techniques, not necessarily evaluating the dramatic techniques. Some different strategies that I use to accentuate the whole idea of assessment for learning. There's a whole bunch that were at play. One is using student-friendly targets. That is, giving students goals that are achievable, attainable, and that they feel they can be successful in a reasonably short amount of time. So they feel success early on rather than struggling to kind of achieve something that's really seems like a far distance away. You've probably saw when I told one group, okay, don't focus on 8, do 4 words to start. So the whole idea of making the goals and targets attainable and so they can feel immediate success quickly on is one technique that I used. I think one key thing that kept coming up in this lesson was the notion of feedback and revision. And I think for me as an instructor, I think that's very important to understand, to read student either formally with formal feedback in terms of the exit cards or just getting students reflections on what works, what doesn't work. And then adjusting my lesson every day based on feedback from the students is really, really important. I think as teachers, sometimes we hesitate to kind of put ourselves up there in that not being evaluated, but also getting feedback from students. But I think it has to go both ways. And you need to trust that your students will be honest with you and help you to become better at what you are doing as well. I learn every day, especially from my English language learners. I think I myself am very fortunate with the life that I've had and my experiences, especially in education. So it's caused me to really take a look at them and see them as heroes, really, to me, because they're going through probably the hardest time in their lives, and they're willing to come here, take risks with me, have fun with me, and really give me everything that they have. And I think that really inspires me to do the same to them.